Look down over the Amazon basin, and you will see an unbroken canopy stretching across 3.2 million square miles. Inside this green fortress stand 400 billion trees, drawing life from a river system that commands 20% of the Earth's fresh water. The native soil beneath this jungle is surprisingly thin and poor in nutrients. To sustain itself, the forest relies on a completely different continent. Every year, winds carry nearly 28 million tons of dried dust from the Sahara Desert directly across the Atlantic Ocean. This visualization shows total tracer humidity rising from the Amazon basin. The Saharan dust delivers 22,000 tons of phosphorus to the forest floor, triggering an explosion of biological activity. The trees consume these nutrients and release immense volumes of water vapor, generating localized weather systems that dump up to 10 feet of rain annually. By generating its own immense rainfall, the forest operates as a self-sustaining weather engine. As it breathes, the vast root systems and dense foliage pull carbon dioxide out of the global atmosphere, trapping it in the soil and wood. This local biological cycle regulates rainfall patterns and sequesters carbon on an intercontinental scale. The Amazon functions as a massive, invincible global engine that keeps the entire planet breathing. On the ground, the mechanisms driving this global engine are violently competitive. Millions of years of evolution have turned the canopy and riverways into a biological war zone, demanding organisms adapt extreme offensive capabilities to avoid being eaten. The apex predators patrolling the canopy are built for specialized extraction. The harpy eagle navigates through dense branches using broad wings, striking with legs as thick as a human wrist, and talons large enough to carry off prey the same weight as the bird itself. Below the canopy, the river systems conceal hidden threats. The kangaroo, a parasitic, translucent fish, survives by swimming silently into the gill chambers of larger fish to extract blood, occasionally mistaking human swimmers for its typical prey. When Slovenian long-distance swimmer Martin Strel navigated the entire length of the river in 2007, the environment systematically broke him down. Despite a team pouring animal blood into the water to distract predatory fish, he suffered severe physical degradation, requiring constant medical intervention and electronic therapy just to keep his muscles functioning. From venomous insects to invisible waterborne pathogens, the forest appears calibrated to repel human intrusion. Yet, archaeological records prove that millions of people lived inside this exact environment for more than 10,000 years. The survival of these early populations challenges the idea of the Amazon as an untouched, hostile wilderness. The natural soil is highly acidic and washes away easily in the heavy rains, a condition that should have made large-scale agriculture impossible. Researchers excavating the forest floor discovered the answer in a layer of earth known as terra preta, or black soil. Packed with ancient pottery shards, charcoal, and organic waste, this fertile dirt proves early societies deliberately terraformed the ground beneath them. Modern agriculture typically levels the forest to plant a single crop, quickly exhausting the topsoil. Indigenous populations utilized polyculture and agroforestry, planting root crops, fruit trees, and medicinal plants in integrated, multi-layered systems that mimicked the structure of the forest itself. By mixing the wild with the tame, these communities successfully cultivated high-yield crops that could produce continuously for decades. They fed millions of people without ever breaking the protective canopy of the trees above. The deepest stretches of the Amazon stand as overgrown remnants of an ancient, carefully engineered garden, shaped by thousands of years of human mastery. That specific knowledge base survives today. Isolated tribes like the Wajapi and Yanomami continue to live deep within the forest, maintaining the brutal balance required to endure the realities of the jungle. Their cultural practices are directly tied to the demands of the environment. Traditions are severe, including initiation rituals where young members endure the venom of bullet ants, building the physical and mental tolerance necessary to survive the conditions of the forest floor. These communities possess the only proven blueprint for long-term human survival in the Amazon. Their deep integration with the local flora and fauna allows them to extract food and medicine while keeping the overarching ecosystem intact. But the physical isolation that protected these tribes is failing. Illegal roads and mechanized equipment are cutting into their ancestral lands, bringing contagious respiratory diseases and an industrial mindset focused on extraction. As the physical walls of the forest are breached, the indigenous populations are rapidly losing the territory and resources they need to continue acting as the guardians of the planet's most vital ecosystem. The modern threat to the Amazon is entirely mechanized. In the last 50 years, human industry has erased 18% of the forest, an area larger than the country of France, leaving a sharp, visible scar across the landscape. 80% of this deforestation is driven by a single commodity. Vast tracts of ancient, complex jungle are burned to the ground and replaced with pasture land, specifically to graze cattle for the global beef market. Where the land isn't cleared for cattle, it is gutted for gold. Illegal mining operations carve massive pits into the earth, stripping away the topsoil and using toxic heavy metals to separate the gold from the sediment. The leftover metallic mercury is dumped into the river system. It settles into the riverbeds, converts into methylmercury, and works its way up the food chain, heavily contaminating the fish that indigenous populations like the Yanomami rely on for survival. Ancient terraforming built the soil up. Modern industry strips it away. The current model of exploitation abandons sustainable wisdom to prioritize short-term agricultural and mineral profits, actively dismantling the ecosystem piece by piece. When millions of acres of forest are burned to clear land, the immediate destruction on the ground is matched by the release of thick smoke into the atmosphere, directly interfering with the forest's ability to produce rain. This chart tracks daily Amazon water levels. The gray area reveals historical averages and the predictable rhythm of wet and dry seasons. Follow the red line for 2024. Deforestation and climate change caused the river to collapse into extreme drought, shattering the hydrologic cycle. Scientists project that if current clearing and warming trends hold, by 2050, up to 47% of the Amazon will cross a critical threshold. The ecosystem will collapse into a dry savanna, shifting from a carbon sink into a carbon source and releasing 200 billion tons of trapped emissions directly into the atmosphere. Protecting the Amazon and its indigenous guardians is a non-negotiable requirement for the survival of life on Earth.